My name is Brock. They used to call me the truck back when I was the starting linebacker for Carolina, but since my concussion, can't play anymore. My buddy came and hit me from the left side, hit my head. I fell to the ground and got up, kept playing, got to play through practice, but next day my head hurt so bad and it just didn't stop for weeks, so that's when I knew something was up.
I noticed my sweet little Brock get hit at practice, and he was kind of slow to get up and was kind of walking unsteady and seemed a little confused. So over the next few days I kind of paid attention, and I noticed that he kind of started to have these other symptoms, like he had blurry vision and dizziness and sensitivity to light, and I still didn't think it could be a concussion because he was never unconscious, he never passed out, but I decided to take him to the doctor just in case.
Yeah, when Brock came in to see me, I immediately recognized the classic signs of a concussion. He displayed physical symptoms such as headaches, he was feeling more tired, he was more sensitive to light and noise, and was also showing thinking problems in his cognition, and he said he couldn't concentrate as well, and he was feeling mentally foggy. He said he was displaying emotional symptoms. He felt like he had less control over his emotions, and he was more irritable that week. And then lastly, he mentioned that he was feeling more drowsy and he was sleeping more than normal. So with these signs, we encourage parents to know these symptoms and to look for them in their children if they think they might have a concussion. Another option to detect concussions is to get baseline testing done. With baseline screening, it can be done with a computer system that tests the brain function prior to any concussion injuries. And then when a concussion is suspected, that child can then get retested so that the results can then be compared to baseline.
A lot of my teammates have had concussions, and it's sort of like football. You don't want to be the weak guy, so I just kept playing, man.
So with concussions, the general population believes that they're unlikely to get, and they have the "it's not going to happen to me" mentality. The common belief is that they're not very severe and they're only a short-term problem. The reality is that concussions can happen to anyone. However, there are a handful of perceived barriers to intervening with athletes, such as a lack of concussion education, resistance to sitting out of a sport to recover, denial that they have the concussion, a lack of self-recognition, and short-term thinking instead of thinking about the long-term effects that a failure to receive concussion treatment can have on the individual. So we as healthcare providers and from a community standpoint can work to change the perception of concussions by implementing more education and teaching on the issue with an emphasis on the prevention measures that can be taken to prevent concussions.
It's important to create a safe sport culture that includes a willingness to talk about concussion reporting. Some athletes may not report concussions because they don't think it's serious. They worry about all the potential negatives that could result, such as looking weak, letting their teammates down, or losing their spot on the team. Another important component of prevention is protective sports equipment. In football, lacrosse, and ice hockey, helmets are worn to prevent traumatic brain injuries. There are also special mouth guards that can be worn to reduce the force that the concussion imposes on the brain. However, wearing these do not ensure 100% protection against a concussion, but they are good protective measures to take to lessen the impact of a hit.
Even basic activity like running or any aerobics, I get tired after 30 minutes. It's so pathetic. I get dizzy. I can't focus in school. It sucks. My brain just has to rest all the time. I spend a lot of time sleeping. It's so boring, man.
Brock loves football, so it was really hard for me to get him to set out of practice and take some time off school. He just had so much going on, and he didn't want to miss out. But then his doctor compared having a concussion to having a knee injury, and he said if you hurt your knee, you're not going to go for a run on the injured knee. So it's the same thing with a concussion. If you go right back to school or perform physical activity or use electronics, it's like going for a run on that injured knee.
If I could do it all again, I would rest for 4 or 5 weeks to be able to get back on that field and start my career in the NFL. But fortunately, I was too much of a hothead to listen to the doc and do what he said and rest. So
I probably should have made him kind of sit out for a little bit longer and given him time to recover before going back to school and playing sports again.